Episode 3, eh? Episode 3. Oof. It came out. It was a thing. It was bloody terrible. This whole show is terrible. What? I want to hear from you first, Bo. Actually, give me your opinion. This is an episode 3 review, but give me your opinion up until this point, and then round it up with episode 3.
I think it should be Nick to start this because I think he's got the.
I want Bo's. I want Bo as a normie, as someone outside. I want Bo's opinion first.
Okay. Well, I mean, without being too rude, I think it was absolute disgusting slop. That's what I thought it was. If it was food, it would be like a thin gruel with bits of bugs and shit in it. It's disgusting. A disgusting thing. Yeah, I hated every minute of it. I mean, so I'll leave the third episode until last. But it did really drop off a cliff, in my opinion, the third episode. Suddenly, it got way, way worse. So the first couple of episodes, I watched it. My first impression is it's just divorced from Star Wars. Yeah, they've got that like diagonal swipe, transition, dissolve thing that you got in Star Wars, right? So they've got that. They've got the odd member berry, like a little droid with the little legs. You see that at one point? It's like a member berry from the old school, like late 70s, early 80s stuff. So there's the odd member berry in there, and they're using words like Jedi. And well, not the Force, but they're using words like the Jedi and stuff. Beyond that, it's completely divorced from Star Wars. It's got nothing to do with Star Wars. It's like, so the demographic of a Star Wars fan are people like you, me, and Culture, and Nick, everyone on this stream, right? Sort of middle-aged white dudes, right? I think Culture's a bit younger than me, a bit older than me, and I think that you're a bit younger than me. So I'm about in the ballpark. I'm ever so slightly too young to be perfectly, I was born at the very beginning of the 80s, so it's guys a little bit older than me. So without being unfair, middle-aged white dudes. I'm in my early 40s now. So this is aimed squarely at not that, right? Yeah. It's madness. It's madness. So the first episode I watched, and the thing that was telling for me was I couldn't concentrate on it. And I've got quite a good level of concentration. I'm a reader. I'll happily sit down and read a book for 2, 3, 4 hours. Yeah. I do that sort of all the time. It's sort of my job to sit there quietly in one position and concentrate and read, right? That's sort of what I do. And I couldn't concentrate. I kept my mind I was just going over to Twitter on another monitor, just go. It was by turns boring and infuriating. Is there a worse combo than that of being boring and annoying, obnoxious and boring at the same time? How's that even possible? That's a difficult little window to hit, isn't it? Like, it was the pits. It was the pits.
They've done their niche. They found it.
Right. It's like I don't care about. Again, this thing of like a 5'3", 110-pound woman kicking tables over and punching people in the chest. They go flying across the room. I just. And who was that? Who's that woman who was in Matrix? Moss. Well, what's that?
Carrie-Anne Moss.
Carrie-Anne Moss. It's like
Carrie-Anne Moss. Yeah.
I don't need to see Carrie-Anne Moss when she's knocking 60, having a fist fight with a little girl. I'm not interested in that. It's nonsense. Leave me out of that. So yeah, the first couple of episodes, there was nothing in it of value or note for me. Nothing. It's like slop, a thin gruel. There's nothing there, and what there is is horrible.
What did you think about episode 3? Then?
So episode 3 fell off a cliff. It was like, so wait, what am I watching? Like, I'm literally like, what is this? Like, there's lesbian witches in space. I'm supposed to care about these two little mixed race girls, whether they want to be a witch or a Jedi. No, I don't care. Wow, I don't care about this. Right? It's almost funny. It's almost funny. Was it Andre that was saying it just makes him laugh? It's like I couldn't even really muster a laugh, like a laugh of derision. I couldn't even muster that. It's
well, to clarify, when I laughed when I was doing my review and I was recording it, and I was like, okay, so here we have the lesbian space witches. Then I burst into laughing. I had to go back, I had to cut it out and continue the recording. It was the exact same thing when we got to the body positive diabetic Jedi. I mean, I burst out laughing after that too. And then I also had to go back and start just to keep my posture for the video. But I mean, there's a lot of burst out laughing on the cutting room floor there. I tell you what.
It is into the realm of absurd. And that thing where it's the power of one, the power of two, the power of many. What the shit is that supposed to be?
Hey, I've got something for you. You ready?
Like, out of whose mind did that come from? Well, it's that Leslie head squash bird, isn't it? It's
lesbian headland.
Headland, yeah. Well, it's like she's had her head squashed. It's all like, and it's like she's had her head in a vice that way, and it's been squashed. What is she? What is that? Anyway, like, yeah, it's very, very, very deliberately exactly what middle-aged white dudes don't want. And that's all I can say about it, really.
Love it. Great. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, sums it up. Yeah, sums it up for me. Nick, let's get your opinion now, seeing as you're the resident Star Wars expert. You are the mega fan for Star Wars here on the panel. So I thought we'd go with with all due respect, a normie's opinion and then an expert's opinion first, and then we'll sort of filter down. So go on, Nick.
Yeah. So let me start off by saying that South Park episode saying to put a chick in it and make her gay and lame sure feels like it's aging very well right now. And the thing is, Star Wars fans don't hate strong women. You know, Disney just sucks at writing strong women. And this show sucks. Take the obvious out. Let's just take the obvious out. The DEI cast, the gayness, all that sort of stuff. Take all the obvious stuff that we can clearly see out of it. And what are you left with? Bad writing, bad directing, bad acting, terrible dialogue, an uninteresting story. I mean, for anybody out there defending this, I don't understand how you can defend this crap. This is probably one of the worst things I think I've ever seen in my life. I would rather watch Mortal Kombat Annihilation 1,000 times, which is before this was probably the worst pieces of crap I think I've ever seen. It's that bad. And can we talk about the fact that they're calling fans racist and bigots and all this?
Get to that. We'll get to that as another thing entirely. But
yeah. I'm not going to go into detail, and maybe this will come up later. But they put two black girls in there that have no fathers.
I know. Even in Star Wars.
Black
guys aren't fathers, apparently.
Yeah, and the thing is, statistically, I went and looked at the statistics.
Even in space,
it was like
even
50,
in space.
Yeah, it's like 50% of black children, grow up without a father figure to single mothers.
Even in Star Wars.
Yeah. So now.
Even in space,
Disney.
Dad can't hear you scream.
Yeah. So now here we got Star Wars putting two black children in their show, fatherless. I mean, did anybody else catch that?
It's very on the nose.
Yeah.
Art imitating life.
Yeah. And then on top of that, they're literally space lesbians on Epstein Island grooming two children. I'm like, what is going on here? This was absolutely terrible. And obviously Leslie Headland doesn't understand how fire works, because never once in my life have I seen stone burn like that and spread that fast, ever in my life. And not in Star Wars, not in real life, not in anything.
Stone and steel there, you keep forgetting.
Yeah.
And a little lantern and some paper.
Yeah. Yeah, a little lantern and some paper just caused this big, huge, ginormous fire that just was spreading quickly like it was freaking drywall and 2x4s. No, sorry, it's not believable. And then the theater dance. This we are one many too many. Like I was like, oh my god, this is so cringe. It was like watching a satanic cult meeting or something. It was so cringe. And Coach put out, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but Coach put out a very good video, tying links to the cult and that sort of stuff that that he pulled out of this episode. So yeah, it was god awful. I didn't think Star Wars could get any worse after what we got with Kenobi and Book of Boba Fett and The Last Jedi. But man, Leslie Headland was like, man, hold my beer, guys, because I'm going to show you how much worse it can get. And she pulled it off. This is by far. I would rather watch The Last Jedi than this.
Wow.
I mean, just to quickly super quickly to build on what Nick said there. Like, if that was her intention, if her instructions from Kathleen Kennedy was to make it as unappealing as possible to the actual fan base, she did her job well.
Yeah,
that's more believable than her trying to make a good show, isn't it? Let's be honest. Or let's be honest.
Yeah.
Terrible jokes. Culture, let's hear from you now, because I think your voice you need to talk a little bit for your voice.
Yeah, I've been sipping some tea. So yeah, I've been sipping some tea. So here's the thing. As I keep having to play with the volume on Windows, which keeps turning my volume down automatically. Anyway, I'm an old guy. I saw the original Star Wars in theaters. So I loved Star Wars. I don't anymore. I'm apathetic. I'm sad. I'm disheartened. And, that's exactly the point. But the biggest problem that they have is that they've taken this male-dominated brand that it's inarguably male, and they have feminized it in such a way that they've alienated every last bit of their audience. If they're looking for 2% of their audience to service, that's all they're servicing with the scissoring. That's it. And everybody else is being excluded. People who enjoyed original Star Wars, the original trilogy, they have nothing to hang on to anymore. Now, I've been saying that for a long time, but I think the episode 3 was the final straw. And it was so nonsensical. I pointed it out in my review yesterday in my analysis, and I think Bo touched on it. And of course, Nick always touches on it with Coach, but there's no linear storytelling that can make sense of anything. It created a bunch of continuity issues, depending upon how you want to pronounce the word. With why did the Jedi in the 2 previous episodes decide he was going to drink the poison if it was the sister that took care of everybody in the building? There's a lot of problems with that. I mean, the ladies either got Jim Jonesed or he got Jim Jones. Somebody got Jim Jonesed in this.
Well, no, I'll tell you this, just to interrupt. There was a clip from one of the TV spots or one of the trailers where Kelnaka, the Wookiee, is fighting that guy. So what I'm going to assume has happened, because that guy had black eyes when Kelnaka was fighting him, is we'll see it next week from another perspective, and the Jedi will come in and the witches will control them, I'm going to assume, right? And they'll fight one another. And then that's probably part of how they get killed. But even if that is the case, right, I don't give a shit, because May's a little fire starter, right? She's a little
twisted fire starter.
Yeah, right. She is. So I don't care. She literally tried to kill her sister. So I don't care what they show next week. It doesn't matter. You can't redeem someone that was going to murder their own sister. She was going to murder her own sister. I don't give a shit what you show the next week. There's no way of redeeming it. There's no way of justifying it. There's no way to make this person out to be remotely. A normal character arc is, if you're trying to redeem an evil person, you can't show them doing stuff like that. You can't show them murdering puppies, dogs, or, maybe their sister.
Well, you can't.
Right?
You can't show her telling her sister she's going to murder her. That's also.
You can't. Yeah, exactly. Oh, and then lighting stuff. So her intention is very clear. right?
Yeah,
I'm
but-
going to murder you, and then sets fire to everything.
But I
mean,
want
you
to
can't
help
do
Nick out with the whole, stone and metal burning thing real quick,
Mm.
and say the cave was actually made of thermite.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, I totally got that explanation in the show.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
No, none of that made sense. None of the show made sense, and that was the other problem is that if you were lost watching it, there's a reason, because it didn't make sense. And
Oh yeah, no, made no sense at all.
I'm
Bloody terrible shit.
I couldn't watch it again if I wanted to, and that's the other problem. I think none of us touch quite as strongly on this as we should, but there is zero rewatchability for any Disney Star Wars. I don't.
Well,
I don't think people will go back and rewatch anything. I mean,
well, I as clearly am a masochist, because I went and watched back episode 1 and 2 for my episode 3 review, just to make sure I wasn't
Missing
going
anything.
completely mental, because I was like, he was never going to train her anyway. Why did he offer training her? Because they weren't ever going to admit her due to her age.
Yeah.
Right.
and
So I
that's
was
the
like,
other thing, right? Yeah. I have to ask a question because Nick's here, and I don't get to talk to Nick about this very much. But I thought they were only recruiting kids like age 4 to like 8 was like the typical.
Yeah. These girls would be too old. Too old to begin the training. So yeah. Going back to your continuity thing, it's just another thing. And I guess we did get some explanation. I mean, from this episode that we found out that Anakin's mom is actually a space lesbian. Anakin's mom said there was no father, but she never ruled out the space scissors technique.
Sesame Timbers.
Yeah. So now we know what Anakin's mom was. She was one of the space lesbian witches.
And just to mention very quickly, Lord Thondar, thank you, reminds us that the Rotten Tomato score is now dipped below 20.
Oh,
Wow.
has it officially? Wow.
Wow.
Google removed my review of the episode, and I didn't use no cuss words or anything.
Well, yeah,
I got a notification today from them.
Yeah, that's crazy. Andre, let's get your thoughts, and then we'll sort of group discuss it, I guess. Andre, give me a review of episode 3.
It's difficult to review standalone, because what I find watching now 3 episodes is that each one episode, they kind of don't work standalone. Usually with most series, you have a structure with each episode, right? So that each episode works standalone, but then they're also part of the larger narrative. Like, for instance, you have they'll set up a problem at the beginning of the episode, it escalates, then you have the resolution, but then you have something that carries on into the next episode to keep you interested, right? That's not what's going on here. This is just mystery box after mystery box. And it kind of like seems like this thing right here was, like so many other Disney Plus series, visualized as one 8-hour story or 6-hour or 7-hour or whatever have you, and structured that way, and then kind of like randomly and haphazardly divided into smaller episodic blocks without those episodes necessarily having any clearly set beginning, middle, and end. So I just feel that all I saw was a bunch of mystery boxes after mystery boxes. I just feel that I saw a bunch of scenes in sequence with very little narrative flow from one to the other. I don't even feel I saw an episode. I feel I saw a bunch of sequences in order. That's what I felt I saw. I mean, it's not even an episode. Like, episode 1 wasn't an episode. Episode 2 wasn't an episode. I mean, the 3 of them together, that's a first act. But it's not an episode. So, yeah, the scenes, I don't even know how to review it. I kind of like feel I should have like Tobin's Spirit Manual or something like that next to me to try to make heads and tails out of the spiritual journey and stuff, I see that they're kind of like setting up mystery boxes to be further developed in later episodes. I mean, but we don't really have enough to properly review it, so I can't review it other than that it's a complete and total failure because it's not even an episode. It's just mystery box after mystery box. That's my review. Fails as an episode. Maybe it'll succeed as a series for what it is, but on an episodic level, total failure on every level.
Yeah, I mean, you think if that was the case that they, because sometimes you're right, like episode structure is important and there is no episode format for this show. It doesn't feel like there's an episodic format. There's not like a clear beginning, middle, and end per episode, which there should be for a well-structured series format. But you'd think as well, like, because there's a clear absence of any structure, traditional structure, you'd think if you'd have watched them all back to back, that it would either feel like a movie or something else, right? Like it would feel like maybe at one point there was a beginning, middle, and end between 2 episodes or 3 episodes. But actually the whole thing, if you were to watch it just back to back, all of it is just incredibly disjointed. You wouldn't be able to put it together and watch it as a movie. It would feel very strange and sort of all over the place. Because we ended the last episode in a forest with the Wookiee. We begin this episode 16 years in the past. So even that doesn't make any sense. Like it's kind of, if you were to watch that back to back to back, like that still doesn't really work, if it was pieced together as one long movie. So I do wonder how they have actually written this and whether there's substantially more things cut out, or it can't possibly have been intended to be a movie. I feel like it was always intended to be this, but it's just
absolutely. What I mean is it was structured kind of like a movie. It's just really expanded and really, really long. That's kind of like what I'm maybe not saying it's clear, but that's because they haven't written it clear. It hasn't been written as you would traditionally write a TV series. It's been written in a way that Lost was written. And they don't give us what the audience needs to appreciate each and every single episode. That just isn't there, and that's because she's this revolutionary avant-garde filmmaker who did Russian Doll or whatever the hell it's called on Netflix, which I have not seen and I probably will not see either, because it gets so much praise that it can't possibly have been any good.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Chris Gore actually said he liked Russian Doll.
Oh, okay. Well, that's surprising.
Actually, it was fine television for 8 episodes or whatever.
I've not ever seen it either.
I also haven't seen it, and
but I was surprised that Chris Gore said that, because I thought it was the same like what you're saying. I just thought it was getting all this praise from
and here's the thing, that maybe her style was perfect for Russian Doll because that's something that came out of her mind, right?
Yeah.
And like most like these storytellers and stuff like that, they have some kind of thing that works for them, that they can do their own stuff. But then the question is, does what they do fit into the Star Wars sandbox? And the big problem that Kathleen Kennedy has is that she has picked filmmakers who do their own thing, and that thing doesn't jive with Star Wars, and then she's told them do Star Wars. I mean, this was the case with Rian Johnson. You look at him, and there's absolutely no reason why that guy should ever be given a Star Wars movie. And yet he was given a Star Wars movie. Same thing with Leslie Headland. Again, I haven't seen Russian Doll, but I bet there's nothing in it that screams this person would be a good fit for Star Wars.
Yeah, true. I just want to pick everyone's brains about some sort of plot holes that I saw in this series, and please do chuck in any plot holes that you guys had seen. So 2 major plot holes I thought I would kick us off to discuss in this episode. One, it's implied that these space lesbos have only just moved to this forest, right? Because they say, "Oh, you said we were going to be safe here." Yeah. That's like it's dialogue in the episode, isn't it? Do we all hear that? Yeah.
Yep.
Did they get their fucking chisels out then and build that fortress? Like what?
No clue. No
Like
clue. I guess it was.
It is implied, isn't it? They literally say, "We thought we'd be safe here."
Yeah. you know, and then the Jedi show up and say, you know, we thought that this planet was uninhabited, like
Exactly.
nobody was here. So they wouldn't have thought that if they saw actual structures there.
Well, they got busy with that fortress, didn't they?
Yeah,
Chiseling away between scissoring, just chiseling away.
I mean, I guess their witch coven powers allow them to be able to move rock and stone and build and all that sort of stuff. You know,
Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, makes
one
no
of
sense.
the one of the biggest questions. I don't know if it was because I was paying as close attention as I could, but there was a few bits here and there where I just couldn't even be bothered to rewind it and rewatch the thing. I just failed to take in. But was it ever explained why the Jedi care about these two kids?
Just that
at all?
they're
Why would
sensitive.
they?
That's just it, really.
What? Sorry.
It's just that they can use the Force, basically. So it said in the show that the mandate is all Force sensitive kids have to be tested. Apparently, that's so. I guess that kind of explains it. But one thing is not explained.
Yeah.
Is how these kids know about the Force. Sorry, how they even know about the Jedi. They live on this planet away from everyone, completely isolated. And she's like, yeah, but the Jedi are good. How the fuck do you know? No one in that group of witches is going to be telling you that the Jedi are good, are they? Literally no one. You've lived among these witches your entire life, right? Away, isolated from everyone. You've never interacted with anyone else but these people. And you're now... You apparently know that the Jedi are good. You know everything about the Jedi. You want to join them. How do you even know they exist? How do you know about them? That's a plot hole, is it not?
It is, no, absolutely.
The thing that I sort of, I think Andre talked about this, but I want to build on it a bit, is Leslie Headland's writing ability. Now, I write a bit, again, for a living, and I've read a fair bit. And this display, I've not seen anything else Leslie Headland's written, but this displays no ability to tell a story. No understanding of how to structure any sort of story or characterization or plot arcs, character arcs, nothing at all. I think it was Andre again talked about the idea that there's lots of these sort of mystery boxes. Yeah, there's an art to that. There's a skill to that. You don't just mention something and expect the audience to care. And again, that's what these two characters, these two girls. Just because you've put a Star Wars sticker on top of it, it doesn't mean I care. You've got to make me care about the characters on some level, even if you hate them, even if they're an arch baddie that you want to see ultimately fail and have a comeuppance. Okay, that's the thing. But you've not made me care about these characters in any possible way. And in fact, at the end of the third episode, where one of the girls makes it clear she wants to kill her sister, you've made me hate them, but not in a way. Not in a way that makes me want to watch on in any sense. So, in other words, yeah, obviously the dialogue is ridiculous. Which mentions a space cream. How many space creams? I mean, come on, that's like something a 10-year-old would come out with. Laughably diabolical, absurd, childish, mental, really. But that's just the dialogue. Okay, dialogue is difficult to write. If anyone out there's ever tried to write a script or try to write a novel and make up their own dialogue and write it, it's very, very easy for it to be crap. The art of writing good dialogue is difficult. Leslie Headland has not got that skill, or she hasn't displayed it in this anyway. No, whoever told her she's a writer has lied to her. She's not.
$180 million this cost.
Yeah. Wow. It's sort of like the people that, if you guys ever watch American Idol, or I don't know what they got in the UK, like Britain's Got Talent, or whatever. Yeah. So the people that come up there and start singing or something, and then they're just like god awful, and they're like, oh, all my friends and everybody thinks said I was good singer, so they lied to you. Obviously, Leslie Headland has surrounded herself with people that have lied to her, saying that she's good at doing anything that she's done in this show. And obviously she's not. She has literally single-handedly made it to where 30 years ago people were embarrassed to openly admit to being Star Wars fans. Then they grew up and was like, hey, I'm proud Star Wars fan. I like Star Wars. Everybody was like, yeah, Star Wars is cool. And now she's got everybody going back in the closet to be Star Wars fans. It's not cool anymore to be a Star Wars fan. And she single-handedly did that.
Jesus.
Yeah,
it was a terrible episode.
Yeah.
If I may, she single-handedly made Star Wars gay. Sorry, carry on, Bo.
Yeah, and I'm just not gay enough to enjoy this crap,
Someone on Twitter who follows me called Random Comment Guy. I wouldn't normally just read out some random tweet, but he's put it's sort of perfect. He said it's a Kafka trap. They set out to antagonize the core fan base so they can admonish the core fan base for getting upset. This is psychological abuse. And that isn't hyperbolic to make that claim.
Yeah.
He said exactly what I was thinking. It is. I said this last time, I think, when we touched on it 2 weeks ago. It's very deliberate. They're not accidentally doing this. It's not accidental in any way, shape, or form. It's very, very deliberate abuse. Again, Star Wars is a white boy thing. It's a white boy summer thing. They're like, we'll take it away from you. You can't have it. You can't have it. We're going to turn it inside out. We're going to make it something that you cannot stand. And we're doing it deliberately. We're doing it deliberately. We're going to put Kathleen Kennedy in charge, and she's going to pick somebody who hates you, somebody who hates this IP. And we're going to produce something which is diabolical. Take that. Yeah. It's deliberate abuse. And I just hope the whole thing collapses. I hope Disney lose so much money that it's a mortal wound to them.
Hopefully. Let's get us some super chats, and then we'll move the conversation on. Still about the same kind of stuff, but outside of the review element. So we've got some super chats here. We've got one from the Seaman for $5 and says Disney stock dropped below $100. Lol. I can believe that. I can absolutely
good thing that Nelson Pelt sold out when he did, because if he had sold now, he would have lost his shareholders a fortune.
Yeah, he wouldn't have made that cool. Was it like $2 billion or something like that?
Yes, it was a cool $2 billion. If he had sold now, he would have made a cool zero. If anything, he actually would have lost a few tens of millions at the very least.
That's crazy. Graph Web for $2 says FFS cancel Disney Plus. The most consistent man on the internet, according to Nick. Goodest Boy for $5 says Rotten Tomatoes audience score dropped to 19%. 10,000 plus reviews. All comments just talk about the poor writing and say nothing regarding isms and ists. That's the thing. To tear it apart, you don't need to comment on any of that stuff. It is poor.
Yeah. And consider this: they just eliminated a bunch of those off of Rotten Tomatoes to bring the score back up to 20. I just checked a minute ago.
So funny. Wow. That's so funny. ENIAC, this is your first super chat, so thank you so much for $10.
Awesome. Thank you.
I'm confused about how Torben went from Padawan to Jedi Master in less than 6 years. He was meditating for over 10 years. Is rank just a random title to be thrown around now?
Wow, that's a good point. I never even thought about that. Yeah. It was 16 years prior. He was meditating for 10, so he went from Padawan to Jedi Master in 6 years.
Apparently so.
And by the way, it just dropped back under 20%. It's now 19% again.
Jesus.
They can't delete they can't delete the reviews fast enough.
That's hilarious.
I tried leaving a review over there. I couldn't.
I can't. Yeah, I can believe that. Fernandez T for $13 says that witch coven was cringe AF. Yeah. It felt like it was a cheap improv show of corny, typical rookie theater kids. Yeah, from a third world country.
Yes.
Cringe. No offense, but this is what corny women would make.
Yeah, but let me tell you, I mean, Nick can say this. At least they have a Star Wars authority there in that Charlie guy. He knows Star Wars inside and out.
Oh yeah, yeah, yep.
Jesus. Yeah, I mean, it absolutely did feel like an improv show. It felt like one of those. Yeah, like we've seen those weird videos of women in the forest just screaming and shouting shit. Like it just looked like that.
Yep.
It's just
$180
bizarre.
million on Leslie Headland's therapy session series.
That is it. That is literally what it is. Yeah. D has super chatted over on Streamlabs for $10. Says the black lesbian and her band of persecuted queer witches make the Antichrist by plucking the thread. Is this a mess that Rosemary Baby's misandrous wet dream, poorly written live journal story that Leslie Headland wrote as a teenager? I actually hadn't thought of it like that, but you are right. Yeah, I mean, I guess they did kind of make the Antichrist, didn't they?
Yeah, and can you explain this to me? The Black Coven witch, whatever her name is, I can't remember because all these people are so
Anastasia.
forgettable. Yeah, Anastasia said she created them, but the other horny head chick said she carried them.
Horny.
How
Yep.
can that alien creature carry two babies and then crap out two black kids?
Because she's just the surrogate. The ethnicity is clearly of the person that wields the thread.
Exactly. Basically,
Uh,
yeah. No, the black one. She's the butch in this equation. She's the one that did that produced the artificial lesbian force or thread semen, which impregnated the
shit
surrogate horned mother. Yeah.
Well,
What
they're
a
going to have a
shit
lot
show.
of work to do over on that Star Wars Wikipedia page.
Yeah.
To
Oh, but
explain
those
all this.
chills will happily accept it.
Yeah.
Days to Come Belong to Me has super chatted $3 on Streamlab. Says by now one could think that McDonald's was the true owner over Star Wars. Both companies literally have a clown as a spokesperson, out of shape Jedi writers that write with colored crayons, and a CEO Bob Iger who sells the public slop shit.
Yeah.
Accurate, mate. Accurate. Sean C has super chatted $10. Says if anyone wants to say that a small fringe group of people are ruining Star Wars, just point them to the Disney stock price. Fair. Yeah, it's not us. Black Saber $2 says they should have had OSHA check the safety of their temple.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate name.
Yeah, OSHA is a health and safety type thing in the States, isn't it?
Yeah.
For you guys. And then Israel R super chats $5 says, "Hello Hcast, I don't care for the woke light, but for the sake of discussion, did you notice that the head black mother was put in the white mother in check in the but I created them scene? Nothing makes sense. Thoughts?" Yeah, I think we just covered that, didn't we? To be fair, so yeah. There you go. Excellent, cool, all caught up, nice. God, what a joke.